Which books you have referred for that matter? Which books you have referred for doing the study of direct taxation? Tell me. Which book you have received in the list from your college, you go through and study. See, there are renowned authors who have contributed in student development by writing few books. One of them, Singhania's book. Taxman's another author is there. He has also Arora sir. He has also written good book. But if we consider Pune University pattern and questions, so another small book is very student friendly, that is the Gayatri Publications book, which is affordable for your pocket as well as will prepare you for the examination. Instead of having fear how to score in direct taxation and how to remember these things from the point of view of examination, Kshitija publication. Who is the author? The Gayatri publication, even if we consider university's examination paper, many papers, if we find, are from that particular book, and solutions of those all previous year's questions are also available by considering this assessment year. Which assessment year we are going to follow? It is 26-27, because you are going to face exams in 26 itself. So we have to be very particular while writing answers by considering assessment year, right? So where we were? Where we were? Yeah. In last week, we started discussion on direct taxation, and we have gone through the differentiations point, then section 10, then we have slowly started discussion with person, assesses definition, assessment year, previous year, then we gradually move towards the residential status, how residential status creates impact on calculations of direct taxation. This is how we have gone through. See, all the three cases, even if you are NRI, if you are resident but not ordinary, and ordinary resident. If income is on income from India, then taxable in all these three cases. Income from outside India, but taxable in the case of resident ordinary. Scope of total income, global income, both India and other side outside is taxable for ordinary resident. Then non-ordinary resident, in that case, taxable when only received or in India and accrued or arises in India, partly in both the cases. Whereas in NRIs, non-resident, not taxable, Indian income is taxable, rest other things are not taxable. For this purpose, we study the residential status. Income exempted under section 10. First one is agricultural income, section 10, subsection 1. Overwriting is done in this slide. But even though it is overwriting, we can get to know what exactly is written after exempted income under section 10. First income came in picture, that is agriculture income. Income earned through agricultural land situated in India is exempted from tax. Share of profit from partnership firm, to whom it is exempted by this share of profit received by partner from partnership firm is exempted. Tell me why it is exempted. बोला काय exempted है. Exempted असेल का, आहे तर का. Why this income is exempted by which is received by partner from partnership firm. I'll tell you the reason. When we study definition of person, under which we study a group of people is a person and association of individual is also person. If we consider both the aspect, it is said that partnership firm is a person. When partnership firm is a person means it is a assessee. And when it is a assessee means income supposed to be assessed and income tax supposed to be filed. Once firm is filing a return, then it is not mandatory to partners again calculate the income and file a return based on that income which is received by partner from partnership firm. Because on income, once calculation of income tax is valid, twice calculation is not appropriate and not accepted by income tax department also. That is the reason share of a profit received by partner from partnership firm is exempted under section 10 subsection 2a. Income from local authorities is also exempted under section 10 subsection 20. Income, so even if these local authorities we consider as person, whatever income they are receiving from their sources, one of the sources property tax, water tax, पाणीपट्टी, घरपट्टी, जी काही आपण म्हणतो, these are nothing but sources of income to the local authorities basically, and creates a substantial amount of fund for their activities, but is exempted. Exempted why? Because this is mandatory for development purpose. So whatever income they'll be receiving, they are going to utilize for the societal development. Income of approved charitable or religious trusts under section 10 subsection 23 and 11, 12. These are the clauses which are dealing with this charitable trust act and income against it. Income of approved educational institutions, hospitals, charitable and religious institution is exempt, should be and subject to prescribed conditions. So approved charitable, income from approved charitable and religious trust. So trust income, NGO, non-government organizations and non-profit organizations, if they are registered for specific reason under Charitable Trust Act and they are getting certain level of income, then section 10 is saying certainly the exemption against these heads. Then HRA, section 10 subsection 13a, exemption is available to salaried employees receiving HRA as per rule 2a. तो 2a का रूल क्या है? Exemption is whichever is minimum. If HRA received is minimum, then fully exempted. Rent paid over 10% of salary, whatever amount comes, if that amount is minimum, then from HRA received, this amount will be subtracted, rest of the amount will be taxable. And if at all 40% of salary, if it is not metro city, then if that comes minimum, out of these three, which are these three? One is HRA received 40% of salary, rent paid over 10% of salary. 40% नॉन मेट्रो के लिए है, मेट्रो सिटीज के लिए कैलकुलेशन है 50% ऑफ सैलरी. और सैलरी का डेफिनेशन क्या है? व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ सैलरी? सैलरी इज डिफाइंड एज basic plus DA of retirement benefit plus commission, which is expressed in term of percentage of turnover. Leave travel concession. This is exempted to travel expenses incurred by employee and family within India subject to conditions. ये conditions अच्छे खासे है. उसमें क्या दिया है? Shortest way route by rail is exempted. Rail fare, as per rail fare, it is exempted. If I travel through air ticket and that charges me a substantial amount, which I could get from my salary from employer, but which is not fully exempted. Travel for me or my family, if it is done within 2 years time span, then shortest route through which I can travel to that particular destination is exempted, but rail fare will be considered for exemption, and it should be once in a 2 year. Means once in a 3 years, 2 years का गैप होना ही चाहिए, ऐसा है. और एक्चुअल एक्सपेंसेस इनकर्ड सब्जेक्ट टू विच एवर इज मिनिमम. आपके रोड ट्रेवल्स के एक्सपेंसेस कम हो गए और रेल का फेयर ज्यादा है, तो रेल फेयर एग्जाम्शन मीन्स वो ज्यादा का एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट आपको कुछ नहीं बेनिफिट देने वाला. विच एवर इज मिनिमम. Gratuity received on retirement or death is exempt up to prescribed limit. That limit is revised many a times after few years, so that limit we have to take into consideration. Leave encashment. Leave encashment received at the time of retirement is exempt to subject to specific limits. Commuted pension fully or partly exempt depending upon the category of employee. So these things are very, very important when and how they are exempted, how much exemption is applicable. Retrenchment compensation exempt up to prescribed limit under Section Industrial Dispute Act. Then compensation on VRS exempt up to rupees 5 lakhs subject to specified conditions. Life insurance policy proceeds. Amount received under section life insurance policy including bonus is exempt subject to prescribed condition. Provident fund. Payment from statutory provident fund or RPF is exempt subject to condition. How many types of provident fund we can study and we can have? Have you ever thought of it?
4 types of provident.
Yes. कितनी टाइप है? दोन. बर. बोलो. अनम्यूट करो और बोलो.
Statutory provident fund, recognized provident fund, unrecognized, and public provident fund.
Statutory provident fund, recognized provident fund, unrecognized provident fund, and another one which is as our choice of investment is public provident fund. Statutory, as legal provisions have given you permission that you can invest into this, then full exemptions we can get against statutory provident fund. Against RPF fully it is not exempted, partly it is exempted. For unrecognized provident fund, there is no exemption. And for public provident fund, we cannot claim for exemption, but we can think of getting rebate under section 83. So in short, provident fund is the world attached with four things. One is statutory, recognized, unrecognized, and public. Then national pension scheme. This national pension scheme is giving us certain kind of support system at the time of retirement. That is the reason even in after launching of new regime, it is there and said that if you invest in national pension scheme, then it has a certain relaxation. Partial withdrawal or specific amounts received on closure are exempt as per the act. But how is maximum amount of investment allowed by single person under this is nothing but 50,000 per annum. Any scholarship granted to meet cost of education is fully exempted. Awards and rewards received notified by government are exempted. Income of certain funds, institutions and authorities exempted under section 10. Minor income exempted up to rupees 1,500 per child where minor's income is clubbed with the parent's income. Dividend income exemption provisions have changed over time. Currently, dividends are generally taxable in hands of shareholders unless covered by specific exemption. Capital gain on compulsory acquisition. Capital gain arising from compulsory acquisitions of agricultural land are exempted subject to prescribed condition. Now, here again a comparison is given which exemptions allowed under old tax regime and new tax regime. Tax rates higher in old, lower in new, allows the exemption of HRA, leave travel allowance, exemption of ATC, ATD, investment up to 1,50,000. ATD is considering health insurance 25,000 and 50,000. 50,000 for senior citizens of a family. So totally 75,000 max to max. Then in new regime, most exemptions and deductions are not available. We have to remember this basic point. Standard deduction available in both the cases, but the amount is different. In old tax regime, it is 50,000. In new tax regime, it is 75,000. ATC का बेनिफिट अलाउड है ओल्ड में, न्यू में नहीं. ATD का बेनिफिट अलाउड है ओल्ड में, न्यू में नहीं. HRA एग्जम्पशन अवेलेबल है बट न्यू में नहीं. लीव ट्रैवल एग्जम्पशन अवेलेबल है, न्यू में नहीं. न्यू में टैक्स प्लानिंग इनकरेज किया जाता है, टैक्सेशन मिनिमाइजेशन हो सकता है और आपका फ्यूचर थोड़ा सा इन्वेस्टमेंट करके सिक्योर कर सकते हो. वेयर एज planning is not required, future security will not come into picture because your tax calculations are not dependent on your investment which you are doing under section ATC, ATD or for houses. For old tax regime, more documentations and proofs are required. Even if I claim for HRA deduction, then I have to give the declaration who is my owner, where he is staying, then I have to obtain everything. And after getting registration and that approval from income tax department, I could go with claiming deduction under section under HRA. So documentation is used right now, even though it is online process, whereas here we are not getting any kind of exemption. So straight away whatever comes in picture will be taken into consideration and simply compliance purpose. Which is suitable old tax regime is suitable if we are having substantial deductions. If there are fewer deductions, then for them, new tax regime and calculations are good for them. These are the calculations of old tax rate. 5, 10, we new 5% ये सब जब new. Up to 4 lakhs, there is no tax. 2.5 lakhs, there is no tax. 2.5 to 5 lakhs, it is by 5%. So 2,50,000 से 5% से 12,500, 12,500 comes. Here 4 to 8 में 5%, 4 लाख पे 5%, 20,000 comes. 8 to 12 में 10%, 4 lakhs पे 10%, 40,000 comes. 12 to 16, 15%. So on 4 lakhs, 15% comes to 60,000. So even if the income falls in this range, we are in position to calculate income tax as per these slab rate. Will not find much difficulty taxation burden when if we compare with tax regime. कैलकुलेट करके देख लेना. अज्यूम करो कि एक का इनकम है 50 लाख, तो 50 लाख का कैलकुलेशन सब इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के बाद ओल्ड टैक्स रिजिम से कितना आता है और न्यू टैक्स रिजिम से कितना आता है. न्यू टैक्स रिजिम इज beneficial for taxpayer because they supposed to pay lesser amount of tax. Then, in short, advantages of new tax regimes are listed. As we know, tax rate is lower, so calculation of taxation comes very low, which is taxpayer friendly, we can say. Simple tax calculations and compliances. As we are not going with any exemption as such, so tax calculations will be straight away by considering gross total income. After that, standard deduction will be there in consideration. And once we are in position to get net taxable income, we have to go with the slab rate 0 to 4, no, 4 to 8, 5, 8 to 12, 10, 12 to 16, 15, 16 to 20, ऐसे करके 20% and 25, 30. Which regime is better? So ultimately, by considering that simple part, we can think of new regime is better. No need to maintain investment proof for most deductions. Here we are least bothered to invest and we are least bothered to keep the proof for getting the purpose, getting deductions and yourself that whatever you are putting is correct. For employees with limit, this is beneficial to salaried employees whose income is very clear, because whatever they're getting from employer they are putting on paper. There is no what we can say hide and seek in their income. So with limited deductions they are feeling comfortable to file their return with new tax regime. Choose the old tax regime if you claim HRA, leave travel allowance, home loan interest, invest under section 80C, 80D, NPS, and have substantial eligible deductions. Choose new tax regime if you do not have any of such deductions, and if you want prefer simplest system for tax calculation, and if you have limited tax savings against which you want to invest or you have invested in the earlier years. So being an individual, what I feel, investing, but we are investing from the point of view of future deductions from income tax. So these are the points which we can discuss.
मॅम स्क्रीन प्रॉपर नाही, जास्त झूम झालंय त्यामुळे कळत नाही.
Give me 2 minutes time. Yeah, I'm erasing few things which are done. एडिटेबल पार्ट झाला आमची काहीतरी रेषा येतात त्या एरेज करून मग म्हटलं पुढच्या स्लाइडला जाईल. So up till this point, we have completed what are the advantages of old tax regime, new tax regime, which you can refer for better calculation. See what I feel, as you people are having sometimes, I guess you might be having 99% students have this their PAN number. So with the help of your PAN number, please log in on income tax department site. Try to think of your virtual income, try to put few things against the sections which you want to get exemption, and try to get estimated amount of tax liability you can have through old tax regime. Which are the formalities you're supposed to complete? Because I'm saying documentation is a critical task. Documentation is a critical task, so that due to that, even if we are going with the old tax regime, we have to create certain exemption related. If you want to claim certain approval, we have to get from the department itself, where we will be giving the तिथं तुम्ही इथं भी ध्यान नहीं रखी. So if you are using your own PAN number and trying to file return, unless and until you after OTP you are submitting that, but so you are pressing that submit button, your return is not filed. So you have a choice of getting few things with the trial and error method. How the taxation part is calculated. If you want to claim for HRA, which form you supposed to file, because everything is right now online, so you can at least try and learn how to file individual's return if he is a salaried employee. See, people have a fear of filing it. People have fear of filing return, so you can encash that opportunity and you can work as a tax consultant, at least for your near and dearer one, and they are ready to pay you for that matter. If they are ready to pay, you can earn money. You can earn money by just doing these things with the simplest way. It's not very big deal which you are doing. You can do it in a way you want, but ultimately you are going to get the benefits of it in terms of money also. न्यूज से देखो, न्यूज से क्या होता है, कैलकुलेशंस आते हैं. आपको कितने अच्छे बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं, क्योंकि ये सब चीजें जब आप करोगे तब आपको पता चलेगा, अरे ये तो बहुत सिंपल था, मैंने क्यों नहीं इसके पहले ट्राई करा. And I know few people, they are staying in outside area, not in cities, but still, just because of their network, they are earning handsome money, just becoming a tax consultant. This is the comparison which we have seen earlier also. So instead of wasting time in this, we'll slowly move towards the salary income. What is the definition as a salary income? Because in when we go and refer our syllabus is saying you should know income from salary, income from house property, income in terms of business and profession, how capital gain and other sources of income. Basically, considering salary as the purpose of calculation is critical to understand when we are going with the exemption part. That is the reason we should know the definition of salary. Salary considers basic salary, dearness allowance, any other allowance which is given by the employer to employee, bonus, commission. We all many a times consider package with CTC terminology. So whatever that amount you are going to receive from employer against work done for that specific period for company, for that organization, by the employee is nothing but the salary. Commission, if at all you are receiving, taxable allowances, advance salary, arrears of salary, leave encashment, pension received by employee, and, and gratuity received by an employee, perquisites, any benefits in addition to the sum of money here that organization is paying, employer is paying to employee, but certain other benefits are also provided, like house accommodation is provided, house accommodation with maid is provided. These are nothing but perquisites. Profits in lieu of salary, sometimes profit is shared with the key person of the organization, then that is also termed as salary. So whatever is mentioned there in this diagram is considered as salary. All these points are mentioned in this slide also, is nothing but the meaning of salary under section 17. Salary is basic, salary is DA, salary is bonus, salary is commission, salary is taxable allowance, salary is advance salary, arrears of salary, leave encashment, pension, gratuity, perquisites and profit of in lieu of salary. Now what is the allowance? What is the perquisite? Any specific part you want to say? Allowances is the amount which is received by the employee from employer for utilizing certain things. Like when I'm having stay in house, for meeting my stay requirement, I'm getting house rent allowance. If my travel is there as a part of my routine activity from my house to the workstation, then for that matter I'm receiving traveling allowance. If my kids are getting education and for meeting that requirement, for that purpose my company is paying me educational allowance. One of my kid is staying in hostel, for that matter I'm getting hostel allowance. So there are many allowances which are given by the employer to employee. Sometimes meal allowance is given, sometimes leave travel allowance is given, sometimes conveyance allowance is given, or any specified allowance is given. So for each and every allowances there is not exemption, but there are chances of getting partial exemption. If not full, partial exemption you can claim. But in case of medical allowance, whatever amount you are receiving is not exempted, it is fully taxable. Special allowance fully taxable. If I'm getting education allowance for my children, then exemption is allowed. But for my own education, then exemption is not allowed. Likewise. Next is perquisite. Perquisites are nothing but the benefits which are the advantages provided by employer in addition to salary, either in cash or in kind, taxable in the hands of employees. Rent free accommodation. If I'm getting HRA at the same time, I'm getting house rent accommodation, then it is not done. एक मिनिट हा. Give me 1 minute.
मोबाईल बंद कधी कशाला लावते तू समजत नाही का
अरे मी फोनवर राहुल तुमचं नंतर करा एक्सप्रेस. Next is rent free accommodation. Sometimes you as an employee have been provided with house, and that house is owned by employer, or if not owned by employer, rent and other charges aligned with it are taken care by the employer, then that is considered as perquisite. Sometimes car is provided, four-wheeler is provided, then its calculation as a part of salary will be there, but it is termed as a perquisite. Leave travel concession. Sometimes insurance is given, gifts and vouchers are given, loan with concessional rate of interest is given. Sometimes facilities of club memberships are provided. So for highlighting company's benefit, if you are putting your whole and soul, so your lifestyle in that regards if not maintained, they are supporting you to maintain, but these all things are part of salary. Motor car, even if it is provided by company used for personal reason, calculations are there, and these calculations are depending upon the cubic capacity of car, who is running and maintenance cost. So there are other clauses with which we consider the valuation of motor car also. बहुत सारी चीजें स्लाइड में बहुत शॉर्ट में ये परक्विजिट्स और अलाउंसेस बोला है. If we start discussion one by one, then it takes time. Permissible deductions from salary. Standard deduction under section 16 is permissible to deduct. Entertainment allowance for government employees, it is deductible up to rupees 5,000. Professional tax, as per if it is actually paid under section 16, it is allowed for exemption. Max to max in a year, how much it is deducted? 2,500. So deduction of that. Employer's contribution to RPF under section 16, that is deductible. Employer's contribution to NPS, deductible. Other deductions are also there. Any doubt? Can we move towards next? This is the general simplest pro forma of computation of salary as a head of income. Basic salary will be taken into consideration in outer column, dearness allowance in outer column, bonus in outer column, commission in outer column. Taxable allowance means allowance minus deduction, then whatever amount comes as a taxable part in terms of salary calculation will be taken into outer column. Likewise, taxable perquisite, calculation of motor car as a perquisite, calculation of house accommodation as a perquisite, leave travel assistance as a perquisite. So these things will be taken in outer column directly. प्रॉफिट इन लीव ऑफ सैलरी, जो भी शेयर आपको शेयर किया जाएगा वो भी टैक्सेबल पार्ट ऑफ सैलरी. Gross salary is some amount. Deduction is of standard deduction. Entertainment allowance for government employees up to 5,000, or whichever amount which they have spent against this is deductible. Professional tax is deductible. And last में आपको income from salary मिलेगा. Now here few examples of allowances are mentioned. Dearness allowance 8,000 per month, fully taxable, no exemption. HRA received 20,000 per month for rented accommodation. When partly exempt, it is said it is subject to conditions. Again, conditions are simple. First one is actual HRA received. Second condition is 40% of salary or 50% of salary. Then excess rent paid over 10% of salary. These things are important from the point of view of it will be deductible and rest of the against HRA is taxable. Educational allowance earlier it was 100 per child per maximum 2 children per month. It was the calculation, but it has been revised from this year and it is 300 per child per month for maximum number of 2 children. Even if I have 1 children, then in that case I can get exemption for 1 child. I cannot think of getting exemption for 2 children because my amount is more. And even if I have 3 children, I can only claim for 2 maximum number of children's exemption. 300 per month per child. Bhartrik 36. 7,200 is the maximum limit of which you can think of getting deductions under children education allowance. Even if you receive more, rest other part is taxable. Hostel expenditure 600 per child, Barsak 7,200. For maximum number of 2 children, 14,400 is the 7,000, 14,400. Uniform allowance 12,000 annually for office uniform, exempt to the extent spent for official duties. It is actually valid uniform you are getting for performing your tasks. So 12,000 is the maximum amount which you can think of getting deduction for. Traveling allowance for official tour, exempt up to the extent spent. Research allowance given to university professors for research work, exempt up to the extent spent. Medical allowance, fixed medical allowance is rupees 2,000 per month, fully taxable. There is no exemption for medical allowance as we have studied earlier. Overtime allowance fully taxable. City compensation allowance fully taxable. So there are few things which are for which you cannot think of even exemption. They are straight away taxable. Now these are the perquisite. Rent-free accommodation, calculation of furnished flat is taxable. Unfurnished flat taxable. Motor car facility used for personal purposes, valuation as per the rule, taxable. Rent, interest, concessional interest rate free or interest free loan, taxable. Domestic servant taxable. Club membership taxable. Electricity free, water free taxable. Employer's contribution towards provident fund, NPS, superannuation exceeding rupees 7.5 lakhs is taxable. Employee stock option plan, shares allotted, taxable. laptop for office use exempted, tea coffee exempted, mobile bill exempted. What is exempted? Tea exempted. Sometimes snacks exempted. Every day, if it is provided, then taxation part will be taken into consideration. Once in a blue moon, so it is exempted. Next is standard deduction. Every salaried employees can claim the prescribed standard deduction subject to applicable tax regime and assessment year. Entertainment allowance. The government employee receives rupees 10,000 as an entertainment allowance. Education is allowed as per section 16 to subject to the prescribed limits. Professional tax. An employee pays rupees 2,500 as a professional tax to state government. The amount actually paid is deductible under section 16 subsection 3. So if we categorize few things in terms of taxable allowance, partly, fully, taxable perquisite, exempt and taxable. So ये क्या चीजें जो आपको याद रखनी है? That is dearness allowance is fully taxable, medical allowance fully taxable, overtime allowance is fully taxable, city compensatory allowance is पापा
तुझ्याकडेच होते
नाही दिलं मला
पप्पांनी सांगितलं
बरं बघ नको टेन्शन.
तुला दिलंय तुला दिलंय पप्पा
City compensatory allowance, HRA, children education allowance, hostel allowance is partly exempted. HRA subject to minimum of 3 conditions. A children 300 per child per month, maximum number of 2 children. Hostel 600 per month per child, maximum number of 2 children. Official duty allowance, uniform traveling research helper, they are exempted for performance of duties. Taxable perquisite, rent-free accommodation, motor car, interest-free loan, employees stock opportunity at the time of allotment, if it is done, domestic servant, these are taxable perquisite, exempted perquisite, laptop, mobile phone, tea, coffee, and recreational facilities. Standard deduction, entertainment allowance, and professional tax. These are subject to deduction if conditions are fulfilled. Now, what is the calculation of rent-free accommodation provided by employer to employee? This is one of the basic perquisite which we can study. Are you able to read the screen? Screen दिसती है?
हो.
So if we refer this rent-free accommodation, this is important part because in numerical sometimes HRA is given and sometimes rent-free accommodation related information is given. So first of all, what we supposed to do? We supposed to know annual value accommodation, rent actually paid by employee, salary, 10% of salary, and taxable value. These are the examples given. Sometimes at concessional rent, the accommodation is paid, then annual value minus rent paid, extend to concession. So extent concession, standard rent minus rent paid divided by standard rent. So again, this table we supposed to prepare. Annual value, rent paid by the employee, standard rent is 1,20,000. Extent of concession, 1,20,000 minus 60,000 divided by 1,20,000. A minus B 50% आ गया. A minus B आया आपका 1,80,000. टैक्सेबल वैल्यू क्या आएगा? 1,80,000 का 50% 90,000। पहले पॉपुलेशन चेक किया जाता था, अभी वो पॉपुलेशन चेक नहीं होते हुए ये भी आप कंसिडर कर सकते हो। पॉपुलेशन पता हो आपको, सिटी के हिसाब से पता चला तो उस हिसाब से भी आप कैलकुलेशंस कर सकते हो। उसके लिए जब हम प्रॉब्लम्स प्रैक्टिकली सॉल्व करेंगे तो आपको पेन पर लिखना भी पड़ेगा और कैलकुलेशंस मेरे साथ करने भी पड़ेंगे। Right now we are just going through theoretical part which is given. So these are the few things. HRA calculation. Actual HRA received rent paid over 10% of salary and 50% of basic salary. 50% is in metro cities Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi. 40% in non-metro cities. Salary की definition clear है. Basic plus DA of retirement benefit plus commission if it is received in terms of percentage of turnover. Here, in this example, many things are given, but 40,000 is only taken into consideration as a 10% of salary, just because this DA, which is mentioned, whether it is for retirement benefit or not, is not at all specified. If it is specified, we would have taken. HRA कितना मिला है? 15,000. Rent paid over 10% of salary, 18,000 minus 4,000. 50% of salary. अभी यहाँ सैलरी अलग और ऊपर सैलरी अलग ऐसा नहीं होगा। ऊपर 4,000 लिया तो नीचे भी मुझे 4,000 40,000 का 50% लेना है। वहां मैंने 20 लिया है एडिशन में, तो मुझे ऊपर भी 20,000 लेना है सैलरी। या मुझे थोड़ा सा चेंज करना है आंसर। ये 4,000 जहाँ सब्सट्रैक्शन में है, instead of 4,000 it is 6,000. 18,000 minus 6,000 answer comes to 18,000 minus 6,000 answer comes to 12,000. So 15,000, 12,000 and lastly 30,000. If we compare whichever is minimum, whichever minimum आता है तो अपना 12,000 minimum आता है, तो 12,000 exemption के लिए जाएगा। 15,000 minus 12,000, 3,000 पर मंथ एडिशन होगा। 3,000 इंटू 12, 36,000 HRA के अगेंस्ट एडिशन में जाएगा। बहुत सारी चीजें, अलाउंसेस किसे बोलते हैं, परक्विजिट किसे बोलते हैं, विद एग्जांपल इट इज मेंशन। Allowance is nothing but the monetary benefits which is paid by employer to employees for the specific purpose is known as the allowance for meeting travel requirement, housing requirement or education. Perquisite is nothing but the advantage or benefits provided by employer beyond the salary, either in cash or in kind, is known as perquisite. किती वाजले सांगू शकाल कोणी मला? 9 झाले असतील तर मी थांबते. We'll stop here today. Remaining part we can see in next lecture. मनोज रिनेम करायला शिक, अटपट कर.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Good day. Good day everyone. See you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.